Our gospel reading today is taken from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 9, verses 51 to 62. And it reads as follows. As the time approached for him to be taken up to heaven, Jesus resolutely set out for Jerusalem. And he sent messengers on ahead who went into a Samaritan village to get things ready for him. But the people there did not welcome him because he was heading to Jerusalem. When the disciples, James and John, saw this, they asked, Lord, do you want us to call fire down from heaven to destroy them? But Jesus turned and rebuked them, and he went to another village. As they were walking along the road, a man said to him, I will follow you wherever you go. Jesus replied, oxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. And he said to another man, follow me. But the man replied, Lord, first let me go and bury my father. Jesus said to him, let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and proclaim the kingdom of God. Still another said, I will follow you, Lord, but first let me go back and say goodbye to my family. Jesus replied, no one who puts his hand to the plow and looks back is fit for service in the kingdom of God. Here ends the reading of the gospel. It is a blessing for me to be here with this congregation this morning. And this is not my first time. Actually, the second Moravian church that I preached in some years ago was right here. At the time, it was Reverend Tracy Pryor, who was the pastor there, and it was in July, and she had Christmas in July. I preached Christmas in July some years ago. So, to the officers of this church, to the members, friends, and anyone else wishing to be with us, and those who are on Zoom, I've been to you well. And I say thank you. Invite me to come out and so we will get in the 23rd division of the book of Psalms, at the 4th verse, we find these words recorded. And I will be reading from the more popular King James translation. That is, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Let me read that again. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. And for a brief time today, I want to speak on this subject. There is value in the valley. There is value in the valley. And I propose to show that formidable as this valley that David describes as having the shadow of death cast over it, as frightening as it may sound, there is much good that we can learn and take away when we journey through and labor in the valley shadow of death. Valleys, as I believe everyone here knows, valleys are lowest level areas of lands that are always surrounded by very tall mountains. And one of the most famous examples of a valley is the Grand Canyon, located in Arizona. Those who go there often need to use designated pathways for climbing or for trekking. Most often, visitors to the Grand Canyon need an experienced guide to keep them from getting lost and to help them navigate through the terrain. Additionally, the valley is very often a dangerous place to be in, especially when the night falls. And there are areas that are susceptible to flooding from heavy rainfall and flash floods. But in this 23rd Psalm at the fourth verse, the valley that David speaks about has nothing to do with the geography of the land that's around it. And there are some who teach that this verse represents the end of life when death is on the horizon. But I have another perspective that I want to offer for your consideration. And that is that David's valley of the shadow of death is symbolic of a state of mind and or experience that we go through from time to time. It can represent, the valley can represent when we are at a low point in our lives or when we have hit rock bottom. The valley for us can represent sickness, job loss, feeling trapped in our circumstances, trials and tribulations, grief and despair, depression, and so on. The valley is that place where from time to time we may find ourselves feeling spiritually and emotionally drained and downtrodden. But when we try to look up, it seems that there's nothing but insurmountable mountains of despair and trouble, fears and insecurities. And they're all around. And we cannot seem to find our way. Job, David, the prophet Isaiah, John of the Cross, Mother Teresa, and the most famous one of all, our Jesus, experienced this. You and I have been there once or even a few times in our life. Let me pause and give you a few seconds to think about a time in your life when something happened, either to you or to a loved one that really pulled at you, really made you wonder, can I get out of this? But once you can connect with your own experience, you'll be able to connect. There is a famous book called The Dark Night of the Soul, which was first written by a 16th century monk and speaks to what happens when one is in the valley of the shadow of death, experiencing feelings of desolation, loneliness, frustration, and despair. Make a mistake. The valley most definitely is not somewhere that anyone looks forward to going into or staying in for any period of time. I don't know anyone who has voluntarily said, yeah, I want to experience grief, I want to lose my job, I want to lose my home, I want to get sick. I know that means if anyone here rebelled or reveled in having that experience. But today I have come to tell you that there is much value to be found in the value experience. And over the next few minutes, I will identify a few of those values that can only be derived from our having been in the valley. One of the first things that we learn or realize when we find ourselves in that situation, that place, is that it is a journey and experience that no one else can have. What have you went through? You went through. No one else could have gone through it for you. It's a very personal and often lonely one. Others may have experienced it, but their experience will never be yours, and vice versa. Others around you may not be able to fully comprehend, to understand what you're going through. And sure, there may be those in the church and at home who might be praying, ministering, and counseling as you navigate through. But the reality is that they will have absolutely no idea what you may be experiencing while in your own battle. No one can feel what you feel. There are those who will say, I understand. And yes, they will understand based on their own experiences, but their experience is not yours, it's not mine. You know, we have a way when we have, or when we know someone who has a death in the family, we start to understand. Don't get over this. And give it time. We're trying to be helpful, and we may be using, these words because they were said to us at some point in our own lives. But the individual who is going through, we have absolutely no idea how they are ready. But all of those around you cannot feel or experience what you are going through. There is one who knows, and the one that I speak about is Jesus. Yes, Jesus knows. He knows because he's been through the valley. And because he's been through the valley, he guides us safely through as well. It is in that place where we also have the opportunity to walk and talk with him alone. Where together with Jesus, we can begin the process of working on ourselves, working on our faith, working on our very souls. My brothers and sisters, when we realize that as much as we may have done or achieved in our lives, and when we realize that we can't find real joy and peace because something is still missing. Or let sickness come out. Let one of us be terminated from a well-paid job. Let the bank foreclose on the home. Let us lose a loved one to death, a chronic illness, addiction. Or let us begin to spiritually dry up and lose faith. When we come to a low point in our lives, that's my brothers and sisters, when we begin our solitary walk through the valley, where we can examine and reflect on our lives, our purposes, our actions, and our future. The valley will strip away all enter the valley. Egoism, all pretense, all self-grandeur, I'm bigger than much. I am the CEO, the executive director, the manager, whatever. That's gone in the past. Our very sense of who we are changes when we get into that valley. But while there, we will get, we'll lose things, yes, we lose these things, but we will get from Jesus exactly what we need to overcome the adversity, the loss, the sickness. And it is there in the valley where we will begin to rebuild our faith and to work on our character. The valley blocks out all of the other noises around us and allows for us to hear and observe Jesus' voice. It's just for us walking through the valley, so you're not hearing anything else. What's not everything else? Gives you the opportunity. Gives me the opportunity to hear and observe Jesus. It is in the valley where we can come to know Jesus and develop a deeper and more meaningful relationship with him. David says it in this way, and I will paraphrase it. This is my paraphrasing what David says. Jesus, I will not be afraid of this experience because you are here with me. You have everything that I need to help bring me through. And knowing this gives me freedom. Another valley in the valley. The valley is not an experience to be feared, it is to be embraced. Embrace the valley. While we walk through the valley, Jesus, the Good Shepherd, guides us along, protecting. This is what happens when we're in the valley. Jesus protects us. He disciplines us. And sometimes, yes, we are in the valley because we can be indisciplined people, indisciplined Christians. From time to time. Jesus counsels with us, he speaks to us, he ministers to us, he corrects us, but he also loves us. He gives us and heals us. So that by the time that he leads us out of our valley of despair, we find ourselves refreshed, renewed, re-energized. We enter the valley in despair as persons who are broken or close to breaking. When we come out of it, whole, healed, better, stronger, and more. Another value to be derived from being in the valley is that we learn what it really means to cast all, not some, but all of our burdens on Jesus. You know, as human beings, we like to be in control, we want to be in charge. And how many times have we been struggling with an issue or something? We go to God and pray. You know, take it to the Lord. We go to him and pray. But when we get there, we're trying to tell him how to fix it and when to fix it. We have to hold on to a little bit of control. But my brothers and sisters, in the valley, we have no control. You go to the doctor and the doctor gives you a diagnosis that just brings you to your knee, rocks you. You have no control. So when you're in the valley, we learn in the valley to cast all of our burdens on Jesus. There is no one and nothing with us there. So we learn to depend solely on him. We learn how to let go and to let God, how to trust him implicitly for the outcome, even when we can't see what that outcome will be. When we don't know, we have no idea what it ends on. There is one more value that I would list up for your consideration before I move to end. And it is that the valley experience can provide a support tool to help others who may be in their own valley. Now, we don't know what they're going, what they're feeling, but we can help. Whoever has walked through the valley knows what it feels like. And so it becomes their responsibility, your responsibility, my responsibility, to share our experiences and to talk about what Jesus did for us. And I've changed that word talk to testify. That's what we have to do. The disciples did it. They testified to everything that they had witnessed. And that's what we are called to do, especially in our valley experiences. We can testify about our own experience. We can talk about what Jesus did and how he helped to navigate us through. It is important to let those who are at that low point in their lives know that there is no shame in being in the valley. It does not mean, brothers and sisters, that God does not love us anymore. The valley is not a punishment for our sins, but rather it is a place, an experience where Jesus can and will work with us. It is a place, an experience where we will arrive empty and drained, but we fulfilled. We will arrive thirsting for more. And we will be quenched. We will arrive broken. Yes, there is much value to be found when we walk through that valley that's found in the shadow of death. And I am bringing this message to a close, and I will bring back 3 main points. 1, Jesus meets us there, walks us through the entire journey, providing all that we need. 2, we leave better persons than when we began our walk. We leave whole, healed, renewed. 3, we have a testimony to share with others about what it's like to walk through the valley, what it's like to overcome shadow. And now, Heavenly Father, may we leave this place to give light to those who sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, and to guide their feet in the way of